Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Morendena Ramani. I'm going to be the MC of this last session for the day. I would like to take this time to welcome officially Prof. Vini Naidu, who is our Dean of Veterinary Science. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody present in the room and our online audience. Thank you for joining us today. Today, it gives me pleasure to welcome you to the veterinary faculty and to introduce the faculty and studying at the faculty. So as mentioned, I am the Dean of the faculty. I'm a veterinarian, but I'm also a specialist in veterinary pharmacology. And I'm just going to take you through a bit of the faculty and what we do. So the faculty is over 100 years old. We were started in 1920, and we are currently at this location for 100 years. We started across the road, which is now the ARC, and we are in our current position for about 60 years. So why do I bring this up? Well, we were started by our first dean, who was Professor Sir Arnold Tyler, who is regarded as one of the top 40 veterinarians of all time. Tyler came to South Africa as a young veterinarian, hoping to explore the country. But when he came here, he realized very soon that veterinary medicine taught in Europe did not allow him to practice properly in South Africa. As a country, in Africa, we have unique diseases, unique situations. And he set up the philosophy behind the faculty. We train our students for the local environment, so our vets are able to perform directly in the country to assist the country. And this is the philosophy in which the program grew into, and now how we train our veterinarians and veterinary nurses. A bit about the faculty. The faculty has 5 academic departments. The first department is Companion Animal Clinical Studies. As a department, it's based around the care of your typical pets, so dogs and cats, but includes horses and exotic animals. We have Production Animal Studies, which is geared towards all your traditional production species, such as cattle, sheep, goats, but includes poultry and dairy, and nowadays wildlife as well. We have veterinary tropical diseases, which as a department looks at our infectious diseases, and their role is the study of the diseases, better diagnosis, and hopefully better treatments, specifically vaccinations. Paraclinical sciences, which is aimed around the support sciences, being pathology, veterinary public health, pharmacology, toxicology, and ethno-veterinary medicine. And finally, anatomy and physiology, which is, as the name says, around the core subjects that allows one to become a veterinarian or veterinary nurse. The faculty also has a very proud research tradition. In the current world rankings, we are ranked as a top 75 school in our subject field. In fact, veterinary science is the top ranked subject field in the country. Gives you an idea of the importance of the field. So undoubtedly, Onderstepoort is the best veterinary school in Africa. So a bit about the campus. As you know, the campus is situated in the north of Pretoria in the suburb known as Onderstepoort, although we know the area as OP. The campus is a holistic veterinary facility and can be considered one large veterinary hospital. But we have different areas. The first is the referral hospital, where we have our clinical wards. And our hospital is able to manage any species, literally from a mouse right up to rhino. The hospital is a very comprehensive facility, and it's supported by the facilities around it, which I'll get to in the next few slides. In addition to the hospital, we have a skills lab, which allows for training with using animal models to allow our students to gain the right skills. We have research animal facilities to allow for the study of animal diseases, and we have an extensive array of supportive laboratories that can handle all aspects of veterinary, from clinical pathology right up to embryo transfer. So pretty much everything that can be done on this campus can be done. And we are unique in that we are a holistic service, which is not that common in Africa. So a bit about our facilities. So we have an on-site farm. We accept that our students come in with different levels of animal handling experience. Whatever species they may be comfortable with doesn't translate to a different species. So we allow all our students the opportunity to work with our various animals on our farm, which also includes a beagle colony, so that at the end of the training, every one of our students is comfortable in dealing with all the animals and knows how to manage them and knows their husbandry. The hospital is a comprehensive hospital, as I mentioned. It is equivalent to any advanced private medical hospital in the country. We have all the latest diagnostic tools, including MRI and CT. We have a full theatre complex supported by even endoscopic theatre support. And we can do pretty much all services in the hospital. We also have ambulatory clinics where our students go out to farms, and the hospital is structured in such a way that our final year veterinary students, which is the final 18 months of the program, and the last year of the nursing program, are directly involved with clients and client animals. So our students are involved directly with the care of animals under the supervision of our veterinary staff. The hospital is an extremely busy environment, and last year we saw 22,000 patients. So it gives you an idea of the extent of our training. The hospital also has a wildlife wing, which is fairly unique for an academic facility. At our wildlife wing, we can admit patients right up to the size of rhino, although with the current economy, that is not something that is done at the moment. Most of our facilities are used for the management of wild carnivores. We also then have the ambulatory services, as I mentioned, and our students go out to farms where they directly interact with animals on the farm and learn skills for farm management. Now, in addition to just the advanced care we offer on this campus, we know that the country has different socioeconomic standings, and as a result, we want our graduates to be able to manage in different environments. So we operate 2 satellite facilities. One is our Mamelodi Animal Clinic, situated on the university's Mamelodi campus, where we allow for training in more welfare and community medicine, so our students are able to handle animals in the poorer communities. In addition to that, we have a facility up at the open gate of Kruger National Park, and here we have our Shivakani Animal Clinic, where we train our students in rural veterinary care. So we make sure that our young graduating veterinarians and veterinary nurses are able to manage in any situation in the country, be it rural veterinary medicine or first world medicine. And all our students will rotate through these facilities. In terms of the program, in addition to our 2 undergraduate programs being veterinary and veterinary nursing, we offer a host of postgraduate programs. Of them, we have specialist veterinary training, which is the MA-Vet program, and we offer 18 different tracks for specialist training for veterinarians, which allows our graduate veterinarians to come back and become highly specialized, and many of these programs are internationally recognized. A bit about the profession. The veterinary profession is controlled by the South African Veterinary Council, and globally we fall under the OIE or WOA, the World Organization for Animal Health. So the idea is we follow international standards. The profession is made up of veterinarians and para-veterinarians, or what's also known as veterinary paraprofessionals. And here we have our nursings, or veterinary nurses, lab animal technicians, veterinary technologists, animal health technicians, and physiotherapists. So globally, the veterinary profession is quite extensive, and we usually work together in what's known as a veterinary team. When it comes to our graduates, our veterinary graduates have to do 1 year of compulsory community service on completion, while our nursing graduates can go directly into employment. And after training with us, you can walk into any sphere you choose, be it clinical, depending on the species, be it consultancy for farming, be it state veterinary service, being VPH or public health, meat safety, welfare practice, or research. So it's quite open where our graduates can go. When it comes to the philosophy behind our training, we follow what's known as the One Health approach. And that is a very simple principle. For healthy people, you need healthy animals and healthy environments. And to understand this concept, COVID is a perfect example of what happens when you get things wrong. So all in all, our aim is aimed at small-scale farming, commercial farming, animal health, and biomedical or human health. And as a collective, we have an impact on healthy environments, healthy people, healthy economies, and healthy cities. To put it into perspective, a medical doctor will treat 1 patient at a time. The veterinary profession is there to make sure that the country is healthy. Put it into perspective, it's 1 to 60 million. So as our profession, our job is to make sure we have a healthy country and healthy people. And without it, you can imagine what a problem we would have. With that, let me end by saying, come join us in the profession. There is nothing better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Vinny Naidu, our Dean at the Faculty of Veterinary Science. We're moving on to the second item, where I'm gonna ask Ms. Henriette van Vat to come and address the second item. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. For those online, welcome as well. Professor Naidu had the opportunity to speak to you about all the interesting, or some of the interesting stuff. So now it's my turn just to take you through the boring stuff. I don't really want to spend time on statistics. I'm going to talk to you about the basic minimum requirements for vet science and vet nursing, as well as the selection criteria and the value-added form, and then I will take some questions. For the veterinary science program, we have an intake of 190, of which 140 of those students are first-year admissions, and 50 places are allocated for students transferring from a relevant BSc program at Tukkies into our second year directly. Of the 140 first-year admissions, 105 are South African school leavers. As you all may know by now, the minimum requirements are APS of 35, maths, English, and physical science at least 60%. And then you must remember, these are simply the minimum requirements to get into the selection program or process. Because vet science is a selection program, it's because there are only a limited number of places available. And so the competition among the candidates can be quite fierce when it comes to the selection. That is why we say that meeting the minimum requirements does not guarantee you a place in the program. Now, how we do the selection and the selection criteria. If you apply while you're in matric, you will apply with your final grade 11 results. And for your marks, we will give a weighting to the maths, 30%, the English, 20%, physical science, 30% as well. And then the value-added form will contribute 20% to your final merit point score. And that is, with the final merit point score, you get ranked on the selection list. If you are provisionally selected into the program, there will be a condition that that merit point score may not drop with more than 5%. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you look at your final grade 11 results and those weightings that we link to each subject and the score we got there may not drop with more than 5% if we do the same calculation based on your final grade 12 results. Should you not be able to comply with that requirement and you may forfeit your provisional admission, we do have a second round of selection once the final grade 12 results are available. So then you will go back onto the selection list and there is still a chance that you may be selected again. Now, the veterinary value-added form. There are two parts of this form. Let me start by saying, first of all, when you apply, you do not submit any of your job shadowing forms. You apply with your final grade 11 results or final grade 12 if you are taking a gap year. Then, once your application is received and processed on our side, you will receive a letter with the instructions regarding the value-added form. And then there are two steps. First, you need to complete that form on your UP student portal by clicking all the relevant boxes. And then you need to upload all your supporting documents to the portal. That is basically then your value-added form. The BVet nursing program, it's almost basically the same principles as that for vet science. Intake is 50 students per year. We are looking to increase that number in the future. All candidates are only considered for admission into first year, and of those 50 places, 32 are school leavers. Well, last year we received about 300 applications, so you can imagine also in the vet nursing program, the competition is quite tough to get in. The minimum requirements there, APS of 28, English 50%, mathematics 50%, and then you've got a choice. You can either have physical science, 50%, or life sciences, 50%. Like I said, it's also competitive to get into that program. We also have places allocated for students with previous university exposure. So say, for instance, you applied now in school to get into vet science, and you were not selected during this first cycle. You can choose a second choice, a relevant BSc, and then apply from there. Then you will be considered in this category for students with university exposure. Talking then about second choices, please make note, you cannot apply for vet science from the nursing program. It is not possible. If you want to study vet science and that is actually your only choice, then you choose a BSc as your second option. And we usually recommend either the BSc Biological Sciences, Zoology, or BSc Agric Animal Science as a second choice. You will also see, if you look at the brochure, the different categories that students can be considered in. When it comes to the university students, it is only BSc students from the University of Pretoria that can apply to go into our second year of vet science. Students from other universities first have to complete the first year of the BSc there, so they have to be second year in order to apply, and admission can only be to the first year of vet science. And the reason for that is, not all universities have the same first year curriculum. So if you're studying a BSc at University of Pretoria, it's easy because our first year in vet science is also offered on the Hatfield campus, so you're in class with all the vet science students, you're taking the same subjects. But as for students from other universities, there may be subjects that are not offered at that university, and that is the reason why, if you then want to transfer from another university, you can only be considered for admission to the first year. You may get credit for some of the first year subjects you already passed, but admission will then only be to the first year of vet science. We also allocate a number of places to international applicants, and the selection committee can give preference to applicants from neighboring countries where there are no vet schools. Applications are currently open. Applications are going to close the 31st of May. It's one of these days. Now remember what I said? You apply with your school marks. Don't worry about the value-added form now. You'll have time for that. You'll have another month to do that. First, you need to apply. Then, by the end of June only, will the value-added form close. So you've got the whole of June to complete your value-added form online and to submit your supporting documents. I will take some questions if there are any. No questions. Thank you. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you, Ms. Van Vat, for making our students' life or future students' life easier about knowing how we do selection. On the third item, I would like to introduce Tumelo Mutunkwa and Christian Bronkhorst to come and talk about career opportunities for veterinarians and veterinary nurses. Warm welcome to them.
Okay. So it's wonderful to see learners on our campus again after the last few years when we weren't able to. I am Christian. I'm the academic representative for the Onderstepoort Paraveterinary and Veterinary Student Committee. And we are the faculty house for the Faculty of Veterinary Science. Think of us like a SRC specifically devoted to this faculty, except we are much cooler and a lot more humble. So that is who we are. My colleague Tumelo is the social engagement representative for the same body. And we'll be talking to you about career opportunities, student experiences, and frequently asked questions in both the vet nursing program and the BVSC program. So I'm starting us off today. Here you can see me in my natural habitat with the little patient. This was taken at an outreach that we did a while ago. And I'd like to start off by just telling you how I ended up at Onderstepoort, because Mrs. van der Watt's given you an impressive talk and demonstration on the admissions requirements, but they are not always as set in stone as you might believe. So I actually went off to university and studied a BA, and I did my BA in Latin and Ancient Greek and Afrikaans and Netherlandic Studies, I think it was called. So I did a BA Languages, a BA Tale. And initially I had wanted to be a Roman historian, or rather a historian of the Romans. But I realized that that career simply wasn't fulfilling. It doesn't really impact human beings to know what Julius Caesar, whom I was doing my dissertation on, was doing in his spare time with Cleopatra. So I realized that I actually wanted to do something more fulfilling and more rewarding with my life. And I found my way here to Onderstepoort. And actually my experience isn't that unique. I have a number of friends who first studied animal science, either studying 1 or 2 years of the degree, or doing an entire animal science degree and an honors, and then getting admitted to the veterinary program, or friends who've studied other degrees like biochemistry. I have one very intelligent friend who studied mechanical engineering, and she's now studying with me to be a vet. So there are more roads open to you to get admission to Onderstepoort than it might sound. As we say, there are many roads to Onderstepoort. There's only one road going from Onderstepoort, and that is graduation, because we are very proud of our extremely high graduation and throughput rates. So know that if you end up at Onderstepoort, chances are something like 97% or 96%, you will be a veterinarian if you've entered the veterinary science program. So, just really briefly, what do veterinarians do? I would assume that you all have an idea. Does anyone want to volunteer to us what vets do? No? Came all this way, joined I Want to Be a Vet Day, came to Open Day, and you don't know what vets do? I'm a bit disappointed. The other groups were much better, but okay. So, right, vets basically are medical doctors, but for animals, and they provide healthcare services to animals. However, that is not all that they do. And in fact, it's only one of 2 very important things that they do. And the second aspect is that vets serve human beings. That can be on a small local level. So if a client brings in a sick patient, their little kitten is vomiting because it ate some bad tuna, and they're worried about it, and you treat that patient, the client will be happy too, because they love their animals. So you're making a tangible difference in that human being's life, and not only the animal's life. Moreover, and I think Prof. Naidu, our dean, spoke to you about this, vets play a really important role in making sure that South Africans can go to bed having been fed for that day. So the production industry is absolutely crucial to this country, and vets play a crucial role in making sure that the quality of the animal products that we produce is of a high standard, and that we maximize the quantity of products that we produce as well. So vets don't just give dogs and cats injections, they both protect the emotional well-being of human beings, but also the economic livelihoods of human beings. There are other roles that vets play. So importantly in public health and in research, for example, they might be researching novel diseases. So as we all know, there are many diseases which are zoonotic. They either come originally from animals or they can be spread between humans and animals. A case in point, many suspect that the last COVID variant was a zoonosis. Certainly we're seeing diseases like rabies and tuberculosis, which have an impact on both humans and animals. So again, it's that One Health concept that Prof. Naidu spoke to you about. More importantly, we have to play a role in educating owners, because sometimes our clients don't really know what we mean. So we've had clients to whom we've given eardrops, and they've then taken the eardrops and poured it all into the animal's eye, or given the animal an enema, or poured it down the animal's throat. And we've had to explain to them that their eardrops were not really intended to work in that way. So it's important that we also play a role in educating clients, the broader public. And I think lastly, and of course this is why you're here, a new generation of vets. So many of you will have started shadowing veterinarians. That shadowing process, that is a vet playing an active role in educating younger vets to come. Then, what makes a good veterinarian? And I couldn't resist putting a photo of myself here because I'm just that awesome. But I would like to ask our learners if any of you want to be vets because you don't like people and only like animals. So I hear some laughter, don't be shy. Anyone who doesn't like people? No? Okay, good. Because if you don't like people, this is not the degree for you. You're going to be working with people every day of your life, whether it's colleagues in the veterinary profession, whether it's the clients who actually pay the bill at the end of the day. This degree is about people. And we can't stress it enough. It's important to work well with human beings. Of course, it's also really important to have a strong love for animals. I think as Tumelo can attest to, if a dog has urinated on you several times in a day, your patience might wear thin, and then it's good to have a very strong, passionate love for animals. But there are also other factors which perhaps aren't as immediately obvious. Firstly is creativity. We don't want vet students who are good at parroting work. We want vet students who can think for themselves, who can take the knowledge that they've learned and apply that to new situations. We want creatives in veterinary science. So artists, please sign up. You know where to apply. More importantly, we need good communication skills. If I'm working with my colleague Tumelo and we're operating on an animal and our communication skills are not good, I'm going to cut his fingers off. So good communication skills are incredibly profound. More importantly, I think, is the ability to work under pressure. So what people often don't realize about veterinarians is that their patients are deadly. Cows can kill you. As cute as baby cows look, they can kill you. They weigh half a ton each, and if you don't handle them properly, with the correct technique and the proper amount of respect, you can die, or you can get severely injured. The same is true for horses. The same is true for dogs. Cats are a little bit less so, but they have attitude. So you have to be able to work in high-stress situations where there is a safety hazard. You have to be able to work at a very high level, and you have to be able to apply your critical thinking skills quickly. And that leads us on to mental and emotional resilience. This isn't an easy degree. It's a 6-year degree plus a year community service. And apart from the fact that it is a tremendous amount of work, it is also emotionally draining. So you will be exposed to situations where animals are euthanized. You will be exposed to seeing thousands of cattle go through an abattoir for slaughter. You will be exposed to patients passing away. You will be exposed to humans having to undergo all of these stresses and being incredibly emotional. They can be upset, they can be sad, they can be very angry. So this degree is incredibly emotionally demanding, and you have to be prepared for that. Luckily, we are blessed to have our own campus psychologist. There is a large movement now in veterinary education to focus on student mental well-being. In fact, I think we're the only faculty in the university that has its own psychologist. So there are resources. You're not sending your children here just to become sad. We will look after them, I promise. And then I think just lastly, what perhaps we might not realize now is that the profession does require that you work physically and that you work outside. So even though you might be interested in just cats or just dogs, during your training, you'll have to spend long hours outside in the dust, in the mud, in the dung, in the blood sometimes. You will get sunburnt, you will get dirty. You have to accept that, and you have to be willing to work hard physically. Okay, so quickly, what careers are open to veterinarians? And my colleague Amanda there with a horse really likes horses, and she might specialize in equine medicine. Of course, everyone knows about private practice and about state veterinary services, but other important fields are veterinary public health. So we've spoken about One Health, but making sure that humans and animals and the environment is healthy is a role that veterinarians have to play. If you like to braai, you can go into the beef or the mutton or the poultry industries, and you can work at making the best steak in the world. Some people like exotics, so if you'd like to do surgery on snakes, you can specialize in that kind of medicine. For our wildlife lovers, you could become a wildlife veterinarian, or you could go into consulting about wildlife management. Of course, there's animal welfare, which is probably the most difficult of the branches of the profession to go into, certainly the most emotionally draining, but I think perhaps also one of the more fulfilling ones. And then lastly, if you really loved your time at Onderstepoort, you can, like Prof. Naidu, Prof. Holm, our Deputy Dean, stay in academia and spend the rest of your life here. And although you'll be learning for the rest of your life, which is a wonderful thing, you also do have the freedom to decide what kind of research you'd like to do, what you would like to specialize in. And at the end of the day, you get to train the newest generation of vets so that your legacy really literally outlasts you. Okay, so why study at Onderstepoort? Tumelo and I can say with open hearts that it is the most rewarding vocation and profession that we are in. I tried to be a historian. It didn't come close to the amount of satisfaction that I now get from studying veterinary medicine. Campus itself is unique in opportunities for fun, expression, and engagement with animals. So these students literally were off on a weekend trip darting game. And there's no other university in this country where you can go and do that just for a weekend excursion with your residence friends. There's no other university where you can take the dogs out for a walk in between lectures. There's no other university where a horse might decide to steal your lunch, or you can go riding that horse in revenge in the afternoon. We have an incredibly wonderful campus with so many opportunities for personal enrichment, which you simply cannot find anywhere else. Lastly, it is a difficult degree, but I think that's why it is so rewarding. It's worth it to challenge yourself to do something difficult, which does have difficult aspects, because the satisfaction that you get from the degree is so wonderful. So, to all of our students, whether you're interested in becoming a veterinary nurse or a veterinarian, use your talents, apply, work hard, make sure also that you have fun. It's important not to spend all your time studying, even though you might have heard the rumors about that, and use your talents. So I'm going to hand over to you and ask you if there are any questions from your side. Okay, so I'm either so amazing at covering all aspects of veterinary studies, or you're just shy. Questions? No? Okay, I know there are lots of parents in the audience, so as a son, I have a duty to talk to you about the financial aspect of it. This is not a cheap degree. The tuition fees are, like medicine, rather expensive compared to something like English. You also have to factor in residence fees, accommodation fees if you're staying off campus. But there are lots of incidental fees that you have to incur at the start of each year. So you might have to buy some green overalls because we all have to wear personal protective equipment. That's 500 Rand, 1,000 Rand gone right there. You might have to buy a stethoscope. That's 2,000 Rand for a relatively decent one, gone right there. You will have to buy textbooks. And in a second year anatomy textbooks now, something like 8,000 Rand, which is more than it costs for 6 months of tuition for that subject. And these are all expenses which add up little by little in increments. And even though we try and spread them across the degree program, they do often end up having to be incurred at the start of the year. So it's important that the financial aspect is taken care of. And of course, there are a number of bursaries available. Okay, so a great question. I'm allowed to. So a great question. Can you immediately start working once you have the BVSC qualification? The answer is not in South Africa. By law, if you want to register with the South African Veterinary Council, you have to do a year's community service working as a state veterinarian before you're allowed to practice as a vet by yourself. That said, the pay is incredibly good for that first year. So it really does give young vets a massive boost if they're smart and they try and save as much of that money as they can. Okay. Yeah.
I would like to ask, I heard you mentioning bursaries, but the problem is now if I want to look for bursaries for studying veterinary sciences, where do I look specifically? Like which organizations or departments do I go to if I want to apply for bursaries?
Okay, so where to look for bursaries? Your first port of call is both our faculty website and applying through UP's bursary schemes, but also the South African Veterinary Council website, where they host information about bursaries for veterinary sciences students. So those would be your first ports of call to go for. But there are a number of other bursary schemes that are available. And if you are eligible for NSFAS, that of course is an even better way of funding your studies. Any more questions for me before I hand you over to Tumelo? So the animal science, do the animal science degrees get taught at a different campus? Yes, they do. And the first year of the veterinary science degree is also taught in Hatfield. So not here at Onderstepoort, but in Hatfield with the animal science students as well in their first year. Okay, so I think Tumelo is chomping at the bit. So.
Hello, everyone. So, as Christian has said, I'm Tumelo Motokwa, the Community Engagement Representative for PVSC. And my portfolio is primarily involved in creating community engagement projects or outreaches where students can practice any skills that they learn here and we engage with the community in that regard. But for now, I'll be talking with you guys about veterinary nursing and the career opportunities that are in veterinary nursing. So they've already mentioned everything that you're going to need to apply for veterinary nursing. And you might find yourself asking yourself if you should consider veterinary nursing or doing BSc and then going to vet. But I guess my goal for today is to make some of you consider doing veterinary nursing. And firstly, you might ask yourself, what is a veterinary nurse? And a lot of people think veterinary nurses assist vets, and that's it. You just stand there the whole day and you hand them a scalpel blade and you hand them something else. But if that was the case, this degree would take a week. But it takes more than that. And unfortunately, we have to learn far more than what people think we do. And all of that, you have to do it in a matter of 3 years. So a veterinary nurse is a very highly trained healthcare professional who assists veterinarians with providing medical treatment to animals. And how they do that can be administering medication or assisting with surgeries and providing animals with physical therapy, and in some cases, analyzing laboratory specimens to help develop a diagnosis. So how you assist vets is very technical. And sometimes you end up learning to do some of the diagnostic tests better than vets because you're the person who's doing it very often. And also understanding how to use the bench tests that you do. So those are equipments that you do to run tests. It's usually done by nurses, and in some instances they end up learning how to even maintain those machines. So it's quite a very demanding profession, and not a lot of people know what happens in the background because everyone wants to be a doctor. And this is a typical veterinary team. So I'm not how the veterinary professionals work. We work as a team. So no one person does everything. And this is a typical scenario where it's a group of students at an outreach, and that's a veterinary nursing student restraining a patient, and you have a vet nurse with a vet administering vaccinations. So in any situation, the veterinary nurse will be either administering the medication or drawing up the medication while the vet is doing something else, or restraining the patient. And while you're doing that, it's important for the vet nurse to know animal behavior very well because you're the first line of defense. The vet might be looking at taking the syringe from wherever, and all of a sudden the dog becomes aggressive, and it's not all of a sudden. Usually we are taught to learn how to look at all the little things that you're supposed to do in order to make sure that everyone working at that specific animal is safe. And so you need certain traits to be a good nurse. And one of those, and one that I find very important, is compassion. And I will give you a scenario. 2 weeks ago, I was fostering a kitten in my restroom, and it had diarrhea. So on a day, I would clean my room 3 times. And that involved washing my mat, my bedding, my shoes, and mopping the floor. So it needs a lot of compassion, and you need to be someone who's willing to do the dirty work in order to help the voiceless, because at the end of the day, we do it for the animals. And in doing so, you're also helping a lot of people because there's a lot of the connection between people and animal is very deep. So you might not be treating just an animal, but you might be treating someone's baby in a sense, because for them, that animal has probably been there or has been with their children since they were born, and that animal means something to someone. So you understand that although you're giving the primary health care to the animal, you're also helping someone out as well. And respect comes into that regard, because then again, you might think for you it's a patient or it's a client and it's whatever, and then you ask yourself, why is this person so angry about me doing this, or why are they not why are they hesitant on doing this procedure, whatever. And you have to understand we come from different backgrounds, different statuses, and different beliefs. And oftentimes, role of a veterinary nurse is understanding that and being able to communicate with your clients in a respectful manner, and also being able to communicate with the veterinarian in a respectable manner, because part of your role will also be managing the vet themselves. And how you do it is in a respectable manner, in a sense that everyone shares the responsibility of making sure that the animal is taken care of. So if you see something that's not done correctly, you have more responsibility to say, I don't think we should be doing this. But obviously you do it in a very respectable way. And attention to detail is important in a sense that whatever we do has to be put in records. So every procedure, any medication you do, patient monitoring, records are very important. If you didn't record it, it didn't happen. That's what they tell us at the clinic. So records are very important in a sense that we need to know what was done where and who did what. And this is also for the safety of the patient. Because you can imagine if you give a patient medication and you don't record it, and then someone else comes and they say, why hasn't this dog getting this medication? And then they just give it again. So you just mistakenly overdosed on a dog over a simple administerial duty. And communication goes a long way. Christian has already mentioned. We went to an outreach in the border of Limpopo a week ago, and we were working on vaccination of cows. So you can imagine it's a lot of cows in a crush, and we need to know who ended where and who did what. So communication is very important in this line of work, and it's often what makes a team work efficiently and effectively. And adaptability is important because sometimes you can, especially while you're training here, you work from companion animals, and then a week later you do another course on equines, or so we do all the species. And oftentimes, if you work in a general practice, you might be working today with a dog, the next day with a kitten, or small dog. Next thing, it's a large dog. So adaptability is very important and crucial in this line of work. And physical stamina is one of them. So he mentioned, if you don't know what you're doing and you're working with a cow, it will kick you. Or if you're not fast enough, it will kick you. So physical stamina is very important, and it's something that, although some of us don't go to the gym very often, but what we do ends up making us very fit. Teamwork. So teamwork. That's basically the veterinary professional. Everyone works together, and that's how we can be able to give the best veterinary care to all our patients. And that's what we're taught here at the Honest Support Veterinary Academic Hospital, where you see different departments working together to make sure that all the animals that walk into our doors get the necessary help that they need. And this is, again, another photo that shows what we usually do. And as you can note, there's 4 people working on 1 pig. And if either communication is not on par, or no one knows what they're doing, or someone cannot tell someone, be careful of this, a lot can go wrong in a matter of seconds. And the different career opportunities, which is where you might end up working, is general practice, which a lot of people are aware and used to, where you can take your dog for normal vaccination, or you can take them for if they ate something by accident and you're not sure if it's something that can be bad for the animal or not. And then there's also welfare and conservation, and that one often requires people who are very brave and can do the work, because oftentimes it's the kind of work that is difficult but fulfilling at the same time. Because with welfare, a lot of us know the state of our country, and not everyone has the means to take care of their animals. And in some situations, we have stray dogs and feral kittens, and they are the people that make sure that the animals that actually don't have owners get taken care of. And then you have rehabilitation institutions, which does rehab work or physiotherapy work. And then research institutions, as a nurse, you will be the person who's either collecting samples or doing the research yourself, depending on how far you go with your studies. And industry. So there's very different industries that are now hiring veterinary nurses. So pharmaceuticals is one of them. And for example, with pet insurance, so when you process your claims, the people that assess the claims that you do with your pet insurer for whatever procedure or surgery that you do, oftentimes are veterinary nurses or veterinarians, because that industry requires someone who has some knowledge on what needs to be done for a certain procedure, and in some instances, the cost of that procedure. And for pet nutrition, pet nutrition companies also hire veterinary nurses, because you have a very extensive background on nutritional requirements for animals and the physiology of animals. And you also would be someone who, if you're speaking to a prospective client, can be willing to share the knowledge in a way that they can understand better. Then there's also government employment, which although it's not in all the provinces at the moment, but you have certain provinces that you have veterinary nurses working for public health in order to ensure that our public is safe for either production animals or for anything. You also have some state nurses who are working in the Kruger National Park area, so that's Mpumalanga. So you do have nurses working for states as well for different reasons. And if you want more information on some of the career opportunities, I would advise that you go to the Veterinary Nursing Association of South Africa. And that is an association that all the South African veterinary nurses fall under. And they advocate for nurses in general. And they also share valuable information that might be sent out from the South African Veterinary Council, which is also very useful for any information that you may need. The different fields within veterinary nursing, so this is what you might end up doing after you graduate. So for some of these, as soon as you finish graduation, you can actually end up in any of these fields. For some, you may need to specialize, but generally the great thing about veterinary nursing is, in most cases, once you finish, if you work at a center that deals with live animals, you get the experience and you become a wildlife nurse. And we also have, actually have a wildlife nurse in our premise. And there's also an equine nurse. I don't know where she is. So you can end up working on any species of animal that you want, similar to vets. Or you can be a theater nurse, which are the nurses that are responsible for the theater. So managing the theater, booking the theater, making sure all the equipment are ready for any type of procedure that's needed. And here at the hospital, we actually have very capable and very good theater nurses, which some of the doctors are very afraid of because they will make sure you are sterile. So they are there to make sure that everyone does their job. And you also have surgical nurses with assist surgeons, and patient care is one that we're all used to. Critical care nursing, I find that very interesting. So it's the nurses that work at ICU. So for human medicine, we'd say you're an ICU nurse. So we also do have ICU nurses, and we have a nice ICU unit here at the hospital. And those are nurses that deals with critically ill patients. Most of them are recumbent, and they cannot basically do anything. And it's also important to then monitor vitals and do all these things. So usually if you're working at the ICU, you hardly ever get to sit down because every hour it's rotations. You're doing temperature checks, you're doing heart rates, you're doing all the works, and you're making sure that they get the medication, the drip is not blocked. So ICU is very demanding, but in a very fun way. And then you have primary animal healthcare and practice management. If you like managerial positions, some people like that, where you can tell people what they should do and shouldn't do. So you can end up into practice management. And this one is the fun part for me. So as recent as the beginning of last month, the veterinary nursing scope of practice changed. So the South African Veterinary Council has a scope of practice for all the people that work in the profession. And there were certain procedures that veterinary nurses couldn't do, and there were certain procedures we could do. But as of last month, certain procedures are now, we are allowed to do them. And the one more interesting thing is that we are now able to open our own businesses to provide services to our community. So these will then be referred to veterinary nursing facilities or veterinary nursing clinics. And these particular clinics will do vaccinations and primary animal health care and any other procedures that are in line with our scope of practice. So if you don't want to work under someone, when you finish, you can work for yourself. And if you want more information, the Veterinary Nursing Association is here outside. I'm pretty sure they'll be more than willing to answer any questions. And maybe they might also help me in convincing you to apply for veterinary nursing. And questions?
I just want to find out, if you finish with your 3-year studies, is there any further studying in the nursing?
So if I understand correctly, can you study further or is there any further studying that? So,
in the form of a
Specialized.
technician position or something like that?
yes, we have a specializing, you can specialize by doing they call it a postgraduate diploma. So it's the same level as an honors level. And once you do those, you can specialize in whatever field that you end up specializing in. You can do anesthesiology, I think, at the moment. You can be an anesthesiologist nurse. And there's other ones as well for practice management or anything that you might end up going through. And once done with the degree, if you do the postgraduate diploma, there's nothing stopping you from doing masters and PhD. But that will be more academic. But you can go as far as PhD with veterinary nursing.
Hi, I actually have two questions. The first question is, when you say adaptability, Nem, do you mean that like we will work with all species at first, including the exotic ones?
So adaptability, when we train here, yes, you do have a clinical rotation for exotics. So when we train here, you go from all the species you can think of, and that's the one beautiful part about OP. You can literally, we have a wildlife center, we also have an exotic clinic. So when we practice on all of them. However, if once you finish with the degree, if you work in a private practice, most of them will end up doing companion animals or small animals, but you can also work at an exotic clinic, which adaptability is also very important, because with exotic animals, it's creativity goes a long way and adaptability also goes a long way.
My second question is there a type of pharmacy I can study for, but one that only focuses on animals? Because I heard you mention pharmaceuticals when you were talking about vet nursing.
Oh, okay. So for veterinary nursing with pharmaceutical, I believe you can, not necessarily sure, but with context of what I was saying is that you can work for pharmaceutical companies, either assisting with research or being the person who, whenever there's a new drug or whatever, and you're trying to have a veterinary clinic or a veterinary hospital interested in that particular medicine or whatever. So they hire us to be agents and consultants in that regard. So when you work for pharmaceutical companies, oftentimes you are selling a product as a vet nurse.
So how many years do you have to study to become a veterinary nurse?
Okay. So like I said, the best part about veterinary nursing is you do it in half the time and you can go work. So you do it in 3 years.
I've got one last question from my friend here. She wants to know, once you qualified as a vet nurse, what are you addressed as?
So I believe most of you know that nurses are called sisters. So now with a lot of male nurses coming into the profession, it's still up for debate if we should call you Mr. Sister or whatnot. But personally, you can call me Mr. Sister Tumelo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sister Tumelo Mtunkwa. Give him a round of applause. Next speaker is Dr. Petros Lombard, talking about junior daycare program that we run. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. When I was your age, my marks was 45% in matric. And I actually learned two things for success. And if you can take that from here, you will make a success. Firstly, I had to sit on my butt for 36 hours per week. Now, I call it, if I do time management with the kids in South Africa, I said 6 times 6. It's not 36 equals success. So, and I call it the Lombardi principle. If you can sit on that chair, and every time you're going to sit on the chair when you study, you're going to think about me. Sit on your butt for 36 hours per week. I think we have 168 hours. And it took me about 2 weeks to figure it out, how I can do it in matric. And that was my success. And where I stand today, I want to teach kids, you can only make a success if you sit on your butt and you study, not caring and Joel and everything. That will come later. You will sit with your wife or your husband on the stoop every day from 5 to 7. That's what I mainly do at my age. So, but very, very important. First, get your degree. And then the other thing is never, never give up. When I actually went into biological science, I also want to become a vet, but with 45%, Prof. Dietmar will not even look at me. Then I went into BSc Botany and Zoology because animals is my love. And then I realized when I was in the first chemistry test, we were about 264 students. Now, I don't know how much can get in here. But when the prof actually handed out the marks, he gave out 0%, 0, 0, 0, 0. And I thought, okay, there's less people now. And then there were only 2 left, myself and my good friend Yuri. And he said, Mr. De Bruin, you've got 12%. Okay, and I think, okay, I'm the man. He said, Mr. Lombard, the good news is, the bad news is, you've got 13%. The good news is, you've got the highest in the class. So I had to get 87% to get a 50 to go and write exams. And one of my subjects, zoology 3 to 6, I wrote it 7 times. The university will not allow you at this stage. And then suddenly I made it. But that teaches me one thing, never, never, never give up. If it gets tough, go for it and sit on your butt and study. Now, I'm the Junior Turkey project manager, actually the manager undergraduate recruitment, so it's my responsibility to get enough students for the university every year. With my team, student advisors that can assist, go all over the country, also the SADC countries, and part of the team also go to Africa. Now, what's nice about if you have 90% and more, it's from next year, actually it's from this year, that you will get 42,000 Rand. So next year when you apply and you get 90% and you in vet science, you will get 42,000 Rand just for free. You don't have to pay it back. You can use it and spend it for your studies. And then 80 to 89.99, you get 16,000 Rand. We did struggle a long time to get, because veterinary science as well as medicine get basically half of that, but now it's 42,000, and that's a lot of money that you can get. Then National Student Financial Aid Scheme, somebody talk about NSFAS, very important. If your both parents' income, you're a single mom, or both parents' income is less than 350,000 Rand, you can apply for NSFAS, and it's for all culture groups. And then you can actually apply on the 1st of August and 30th of November. So no kid in South Africa cannot have money to study. It's there, you must just apply. And that includes tuition, books, and residence. So that's very important. But there's also another one for the missing middle. That is the people between 350,000 and 600,000. You can just go on the website where you can also apply for discount or the specific bursaries. Then UP have a lot of other bursaries. So you can make a loan. We also got sports bursaries, but I believe if you want to study medicine and become a vet, you will not have time for sports. You will have time for social sport here on campus, because I'm also the head of residence of the medical campus, Olympus, and we have a very good relationship with OP. We play rugby against each other, they party together, and so on. But please, your studies is priority. Then also on that Go Study, www.gostudy.net/UP, we will also put all these presentations of the Junior Turkey online, where you can get that. There's all the bursaries that you can get. but they also tell you where you can look for it. They know NBT. There's a lot of people that still ask us, is NBT required? No more, but it's very, very important. Other universities, if you apply at them, say they can ask for NBT, but not at the university for 2024. Okay, closing dates, very important. Hopefully all of you grade 12s, you already applied on the 1st of April. And because your second choice, it's very, very important. I look at some of the applications last week, and a lot of kids only actually, if they choose medicine, they say that's the only thing I want to do, and I don't choose a second choice. But if you're not selected, you have nothing. So the same with vet science. Take a second choice. Okay. And then other people ask, okay, but can I choose a third choice? You can. If you have a student number, you can ask, but you must just remember, say you're not 100% sure. You want to do BSc Animal Science, or you want to do BSc Zoology. Rather contact my division on an email that we can actually give you guidance. I've got a team of about 8 senior students advisors that can assist you to see if you make the correct choice. We don't do psychometric testing. We do career guidance, and we are very successful in that. So most of our students actually end up in the correct career choice. Then the other closing dates is 30 June, but I think most of you must be already applied, because the 31st of May it's closed and it will not open again. Then with your second choice, it's a little bit different from last year. Last year, if you make the criteria and you apply on the 1st of April, they actually take you, but now it's different. Now what we do is, we received all the applications for April. Now, last night, I received an email late last night that they actually do the selection for April. They send it to the faculties, and the deanery must approve those that they select, and they will let you know between the 10th and the 15th of April. So just be patient. Then we will do it with the second round. So what we do is, especially in the animal science, we put you from 100% to 50%. Then we pick the top, 40% of that, what we can take into animal science. Then the second round again, then we take 30%. Then the third round, another 30%, and then the final 30% will be conditionally admitted. But then after the third round, if of course your second choice is not full, then we open it up again. It's a little bit different from last year, so it's not if you qualify that you will automatically be in. And I always tell the people, it's vet science, we are the only university with vet science, but also apply at other universities also. But I believe if your marks are good, you will get into your second choice. Good. All study programs is number limited, so it's very, very important. We received last year 43,000 applications, and we can only accommodate 9,200. So you can imagine it's tough to get in. But if your marks are fine, it's good. Then very, very important, you must check your application when you get your username and password. Please don't forget that. Write it down somewhere. Take a photo of it. And then you can actually regularly from now, say from Monday, Tuesday, please check at the right-hand side of your application, there will be communication. That's where we put up your letters. We're not sending emails or anything, or WhatsApps or SMS. We communicate through the portal. So that's very, very important. And then if you already applied, it's fine. Hopefully you press the submit button, because in the beginning of the year we had one student that wants to do medicine over 90%, but she never pressed the submit button. So we actually had to get her one way or another into biological science. So just make sure. If you still have a T number, you must actually contact us that we can see where the problem lies. Okay, and then we have the faculty brochures that we put in your bags and everything. So just go and look and see if you're in the right directions. I'm not going to talk about that. That's the application. You applied with your ID, your grade 11 final examination report. I know there's some universities that actually also look at your July marks, but I don't think it's fair, because schools can set up a paper in such a way that some people can get high marks and some lower marks. So, and then the proof of payment. And then also, if you struggle with the proof of payment, please contact us. Or you can upload an affidavit where you put up your parents' payslip. If it's less than 350,000, we automatically proceed with your application. And when you get NSFAS, you will actually pay the 300 Rand back. Okay. Yes, I said follow your progress on your application. It's not your mum and your dad must follow your application, please. I've got a lot of mums that actually do the whole application. And then at one stage we realize, but the learner contact me and say, but I don't know where I must go, where I must log in. So please, I think it's time for you to take the responsibility to look at your applications. Your mum and dad can help, but it's your responsibility. Okay, then what is Junior Techie all about? It's now already for 18 years on the road, and it grows exponentially. We work from grade 9 to 12. If you have younger kids, please let them become Junior Techies. And I think most of you received the invitation through Junior Techie that I sent out basically. So there's a lot of people out there. If I don't know them, I can't send them invitations. And it helps you to be better prepared for exams. We have a grade 12 winter school for maths and physical science. It's unfortunately only in English. If you want to do it in Afrikaans, you can go to the Beeld School. They're much more expensive than ours, but we will have basically a 12 hours exam preparation for grade 12, and then in the October holidays for grade 11. We had one school here from Soshanguve. They brought 43 learners, and their average was something in the 47s for the class. When they came for grade 11 and grade 12, the average of the class was 73%, and they had 100% pass rate, just for 24 hours specific maths. But on the online platform, we actually opened it up yesterday. There's an exam preparation page with all the previous exams. We're still busy with last year's one, but all the exam papers plus the question papers, videos, PowerPoints, everything is there. So please make use of juniortechie.online. And then, the Junior Techie app, that's also a thing that you must have, because we send out notifications on a regular basis. And there is a video on Stairs for Success.
At the University of Pretoria, we know that moving from high school to university can seem like a big jump. That's why Junior Techie provides a wide variety of services that help you in becoming a well-informed UP student. You can ensure a successful transition into the university life by following our easy step-by-step process. Step 1. Start off by registering for the web-based Junior Techie app at juniortechieapp.co.za. You can then click on the Sign Up button and add the applicable details, which include your first name, last name, mobile number, and email address. Step 2. As a grade 9 to 12 learner and prospective UP student, you can become an official Junior Taki member by clicking on the Junior Taki tile located on the Junior Taki mobile app. Once clicking on this tile, you can select the option Become a Junior Taki. Alternatively, you can also complete a JT membership form at the following link. The benefits of being a Junior Taki member include career and study guidance, special bursary information, skills development, and obtaining access to other useful services. Step 3 involves joining Junior Taki Online. The Junior Taki Online platform and initiative is sponsored by UNICEF. InvestTech supports the presentation of programs such as the Grade 11 Empowerment Week project and the Grade 12 Preparation Conference. Registering for JT Online will provide you with learning resources to better understand study material in multiple subjects for learners from Grade 8 to Grade 12. And gain an advantage while preparing for your examinations in the comfort of your own learning space and time. To register for Junior Taki Online, you will need to select the JT Online tile on the Junior Taki mobile app or visit juniortaki.online. Step 4. Be sure to consult one of our student advisors who can assist you in choosing your grade 10 subjects, discussing possible study and career options available, and guide you in completing your UP application successfully. To do so, email us at the following address. Step 5. Once becoming a UP student, you can join the JT Student Ambassador Society, or as referred to by students, the JTSAS. Graduates and postgraduates also have the option of joining the JT Alumni. Through these platforms, we equip you with the skills to succeed during university, enhance your leadership ability, and give you an opportunity to participate in social development activities that prepare you for the working world. Take the stairs to success and join Junior Taki today. For more information, visit www.up.ac.za/Junior Taki.
Okay, the video on the Junior Taki Online.
The Junior Taki e-learning platform provides you, as a learner, with specifically designed learning resources to better understand your subject material, thus improving your examination preparations. The JT Online platform gives you a significant advantage among your peers in preparing for your university study. JT Online also provides you with numerous valuable life skills. To register for the JT Online platform, follow our easy step-by-step process on juniortaki.online and click on Register. Thereafter, you will need to click on Login to access the classrooms on JT Online. You can also navigate to JT Online via the JT app at juniortakiapp.co.za. You will receive important notifications and connect with us on our social media platforms. Now that you're a registered JT Online user, step up by navigating to the Learner Resources section and select a subject in the drop-down menu. Here you can find various subjects offered to grade 8 and 9 learners and grade 10 to 12 learners. Some of the benefits of being registered on the JT Online e-learning platform include access to faculty-specific information, enrichment programs, career guidance, information sessions, life skills, how to apply at UP, and many more. Visit juniortaki.online for a glance at a comprehensive list of the benefits that the platform has to offer. To be a well-rounded student who develops into a thought leader and a preferred graduate in industry, the JT Online platform equips you with valuable life skills such as problem solving, dealing with change, relational intelligence, public speaking, self-motivation, and the list goes on. Invest in the future you. Join the JT Online platform. Click, connect, step up.
Okay, just there's the Junior Taki website where you can become a Junior Taki, and there's just a few slides on basically how the Junior Taki online landing page look like, what you saw in the video. Also on top is the information on Junior Taki, register on the app, and then also the membership. And you must just remember, if you at the university, you can be still part of the Junior Turkey, of the Junior Turkey Student Ambassador Society, biggest society on campus, nearly 900 kids that actually are involved in community outreach. So they go back to their schools and they actually recruit other learners and tell them their stories. And I believe that every one of us have a story to tell. And work hard to tell your story one day to people. And it's good to tell your story. Then also just the account page is very important for the subjects. You have to register because we actually need your information plus your ID, because we actually want to see on first year where you end up at the University of Pretoria. We're not using any of these stuff or give it to the third party or anything. So we have an agreement with the POPI Act. We only use it that we can make it your life much easier. Then also the rest, like the life skills, that's an open source. So there's just, you can edit your profile, etc. And then there's all the classrooms from grade, and the 5 subjects: accounting, English, life science, mathematics, and physical science. So please go and use it and see if you can up your marks. Okay, then there's also the faculty pages. I'm not going to show you that. You can actually find there. You can find the health science. You can actually, the veterinary science is not. It's last but not the least. But you can have a look at that. And then also the faculty pages. There's all faculties got a page. And then enrichment programs. There's a lot of skills, study methods, time management, all those things that students need to be successful. We actually posted on this program. There's the life skills from grade 8 to grade 12. And it's very, very important. There's how to overcome anxiety. You know, all students are very stressed when they end up at the university. But we choose a lot of our old alumni who actually finish their studies and say, listen, tell the kids what they must do to overcome anxiety. And there's also one, how to become a millionaire at 22. For the dads, you can go and have a look at it. It will help you a lot. There's the 3 videos. What we do is we have 3 videos basically. It's an introduction, then we give some homework, and then we conclude, and you can have a look at it. And it's very positive that actually, for me, sometimes I just go and have a look at that videos again. And it's amazing how the young people are. You know, when we're older, we think, the young people, they must do what we do. What we did when we were young. But it totally changed. And that's one of the nicest things if you're becoming older and you work with thousands of kids. You actually, in your mind, you're still young. You're not becoming old. And I think that is the success to become successful. And if you retire, you will actually still look at all these things. Then there's the main menu, study at UP. Please go and have a look, even if you decide what you study. Fees and funding, choose a residence, career focus. There's a lot of these things that, and also tech sport. Somebody asked, is there sport bursaries available if I want to study vet science? I can tell you there is bursaries if you're on a Protea level or higher Protea level. And maybe you can get into, if you play hockey for Gauteng or those things, but there is so many bursaries also, but I can tell you, no, for medicine and vet science, rather focus on your study. You can do the internal sport. Then this one, very important, www.gostudy.net/UP. And that's a questionnaire. Just go tonight and check yourself if you're in the right direction. It's 105 questions. You just, they ask you the questions, and then they give you actually a report like this. And this person, basically plant and animals was the thing that they want to do in their career. And I can tell you, we use this for a lot of years already now at the university, and we are very, very successful in this career guidance. So please. But also, I just want to go one back. There's also the site content is about occupations, UP study programs, bursaries, apply webinars, and also course choosers. So there's especially on the bursaries. So all the bursaries in South Africa, we actually add in there. So it's a private company, but their skills is to get all the bursaries that's available is on there. So it's a one-stop. Okay, I'm finished. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any questions? Nothing. Just remember, any support, junior.tikkie@up.ac.za. And just remember the dot between the junior and the .tikkie. Okay, so good luck. I'll keep thumbs for you. Hopefully, a lot of my junior tikkies will be vets for next year. So I'm looking forward to see you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lombard, for your warm presentation. To the online viewers, this is the point where we say, till we meet again as a vet nurse or a vet. And again, remember this is recordings that you can find. And to our guests who are here, remember we've got an optional campus tour that we are offering just outside the door. OPVSC, they are more than welcome to take us for a tour. And the one last thing, we've got these gift packs at the door there on your exit to this. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a blessed day.